The first fight card of the Paramount era kicks off this Saturday with UFC 324, Pimblett versus Gaethje for the interim lightweight title. So I'm going to give my predictions on who's going to win the fights on the main card, as well as how each fight on the main card is going to play out and how they could win. So I'm going to start off with the main event, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Now, I think this is going to be an interesting fight and a fun fight because Gaethje is a fun fighter to watch. He's a striker. He can be high volume, high pace. He isn't afraid to get in the pocket, kind of let an exchange go, let a brawl go, and he's got durability to him. I mean, even though he was knocked out by Max Holloway, he's still got durability to be able to take those punches and throw some back. He likes to also work his power shots off his jab. And I saw that in the Rafael Haviz fight, where he really implemented that jab, and you'd see him throw a hook, overhand, uppercut, something, and when he would get in there, willing to brawl with the V's, he definitely likes to mix it up, whether it being hooks, uppercuts, overhands, but he also likes to mix in the low kick, so he can really damage his opponent's leg, slow down their movements, make them harder to move, and then easier to hit. And with Paddy Pimblett, how he's a very awkward, unorthodox striker, and how he really doesn't got the greatest defense. He kind of uses that to help his defense. He could really hurt him. And you kind of saw that with Haviz fight too, where in that first round he's really eating that leg up. You could see it kind of was affecting Haviz. And he got away from it in later rounds, which I wish he wouldn't have. I think it would have been better had he not. But I think he's got to stick on that strategy. And I think as long as he keeps it standing, he can win. He definitely can. And he's got good wrestling. He's wrestling since the age of 4. He's an NCAA Division I wrestler. So he's got wrestling skills that he can use to defend the takedowns from Paddy. And now when it comes to Paddy is a very unorthodox striker. He'll kind of move in odd ways, being on angles when he throws, but also throw from odd angles, kind of wide, loopy punches, which might be able to catch Justin Gaethje. But, I mean, his bread and butter is getting it to the ground, using his grappling skills to transition on the ground and look for some ground and pound, or what he really likes to do is look for a submission. And with him having kind of that questionable defense, that if Gaethje's low kicks can kind of really hamper his movement, that might be his way to go. Even though he says he can strike with them, I think for someone like Gaethje, that could end up hurting him. And I think if he gets clipped enough, you're going to see him go for a takedown. But I'm definitely going to go with Gaethje. I just think he knows this is going to be his last run at a title. And I think he wants to kind of have that title before he retires, knowing he's only got a couple years left, as he said. And I think his experience and just his desire, I think, is going to help him win this fight. And then we go to the co-main event, which is Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. I think this is an interesting fight because it's two strikers who fight differently. When you go to Sean O'Malley, former champion, what he really likes to do is stay on the outside and snipe. He doesn't really like to trade. If he gets in, he'll throw a combo or a punch or two and get out. He'll like to use the teep to kind of keep his opponent at range, use his movements, which he's got very good movements, whether it be lateral or even kind of backing up or using the head movement, or kind of just leaning out of the way, which you kind of saw with Aljamain Sterling fight, and that when he kind of leaned back just enough so that the punch from Aljamain would miss him by just an inch, and then boom, go in for that right hand. So I think, he's going to try and do that again, use that good footwork, use that good footwork, use that good movement. And from there, you can see how sometimes he'll switch and do his southpaw stance from that. He'll use kind of his footwork, his movement to switch stances. And he can be effective from that stance as well. Obviously, he's very technical with the striking. He will look for counters, but he's really just about kind of not ever overextending himself, not really going into too long combinations, and just staying on the outside, using the teep as well as you'll see him do leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks, but staying on the outside where he's the most effective. And what then in Song Yudong, you have a guy who actually likes to move forward, likes to kind of push the pace. He'll step in when he strikes, but he also will sometimes he's fine with being in the pocket and kind of fighting from inside the phone booth, willing to trade and look for a counter in that process, to find a counter to knock his opponent out. He's done it multiple times, but he also doesn't mind grappling. He also doesn't mind, using that to get him up against the cage, whether it be in the clinch, and throw strikes from there. He actually got a knockout where he was in the clinch and just threw a nasty elbow that hit the guy right on the ear and just rocked him, and then he finished him. So I think for him, his best way to win is going to be if O'Malley starts piecing him up on the outside. O'Malley doesn't really let him get in. And Song Yudong's very patient how he gets in. He's not going to rush in. He's going to patiently wait, find his moment, to really get in there. But with the way O'Malley's movement is and his footwork, that may be hard. So he might have to rush and just be very careful. But if he does, depending on how the striking goes, his best way to win might be to get it in, put him up against the cage, try and use some Muay Thai clinch to land some elbows or some punches, and maybe even take him down. And his ground game has gotten better. He's been improving that kind of with each fight. But I think it's going to be very just two different styles of striking. Like I said, you have O'Malley, who likes to stay on the outside, doesn't really like to go into long combos, likes to kind of almost snipe his opponents, use that movement to never really allow him to get too close, keep that distance, where you have Song Yudong, who likes to pressure, likes to close the distance. He's got fast combos. He kind of likes to use low kicks too, as to slow him down, and if he does, that could help him. I'm gonna go with O'Malley here. I think Song Yudong could win. I just think O'Malley's experience is where he can end up coming on top of this fight, and with him like to staying on the outside, not really like to trading. That could end up being where he wins it. The next fight is Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis. Now, this is going to be a fun fight because I think someone's going out. Someone's getting knocked out. I mean, it's happening like that. Especially because when you look at it, you have two different style strikers, but different than the co-main event. You have a very technical striker in Waldo Cortez Acosta. He really likes to use that jab to set everything up, and then he'll find that one opening and come with a nice heavy shot. But he's very technical, very patient, very crisp boxing. He doesn't really throw a lot of leg kicks or anything. He's very much a boxer, very crisp, very technical with his striking. And you've seen it where even a slight opening, he'll exploit. He's very calm, very measured. So I just think he's going to have to, play that game again against Derek Lewis, who's got that one-punch knockout power, and really stick to the fundamentals of boxing so he doesn't overextend himself. Because when you look at Derek Lewis is very powerful, he will, look to bait you into a mistake so he can counter. And with that, he can be down, but that one punch can do it. So I think you've got two people who ain't going to look to grapple. They're going to look to punch, and I think it's just going to come down to this fight versus is a very technical, very patient, very kind of precision boxing from Acosta going to be the difference maker versus a kind of more wild, kind of crazy striker that you have in Derek Lewis. I'm going to go with Acosta. I just think he's kind of in that rhythm. And I think because Derek Lewis is so wild versus a more patient guy, he's going to be exploited. And that's going to go against him and going to be his downfall. But I think it's going to be a good fight either way. And one thing I wanted to mention too, I forgot about the co-main event, is they both can counter. And that's going to, I think, that also come to that fight of who's going to counter better. I think you kind of could see the same thing too. That's what I want to mention is you've seen Acosta kind of counter of an opponent when they're about to throw a strike. And I think he could use that against a more wild, crazy Derek Lewis. And I think you can kind of see that play out in both of these two fights. But I think it's going to be a good fight either way. The next fight is going to be Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas, which, fun fact, I've actually got to meet Rose Namajunas a couple times when she trained at the academy. Got to meet her, got to talk to her a little bit, so I got some bias here, I really do. When you look at this fight, you've kind of got the experience that comes with being a former champion, and the way she fights versus with a more a little bit more high pace, a little bit more person likes to be a little more aggressive. Because with the Rose, what you're looking at is she's a very precision striker, and she's very much likes to use a lot of straight shots, and she mixes her kicks with those straight shots. She doesn't really throw a lot of hooks. It's a lot of, jabs, cross, uppercuts, very much in a straight line. And we've actually at my gym got a picture of when she knocked out a Zhang Weili for the title, of when she kind of faked like she was going to kick low, and that's what Zhang Weili was looking for, and just came up high and knocked her out. So I've got bias in this one, I can't lie. Obviously, she's, I got the experience on her. And she does like throw kicks, but like in that Zhang Weili one, she's very selective. In that one, she was going low, then she went high. So she's very much a very calculated, calm striker. She can grapple. She has got grappling ability. She will use it if she needs to, but a lot of what she likes to do is just keep it standing. And she likes to use her feints. Likes to use the feints to kind of get the opponent to freeze, learn what they're going to do, and go. She's also got good footwork. She got good movement, and actually could be helpful against Silva, because what Silva will do sometimes is she'll want to continue back up. Sometimes almost put herself in a bad situation against the cage. So if Namajunas could cut her off, she might be able to be there and catch her with a good shot. Like I said, she got good fight IQ. So it's just gonna be really important for her is, can she keep on using those straight punches? Maybe find counters when she can see them. Use all that experience, those straight punches, throwing the kicks when she sees an opening to really hurt Silva. But with Silva, she's gonna have more volume than Rose. Rose is a little more calculating how she throws her strikes, but you got Natalia Silva's really gonna be kind of more high volume, really could kind of push it. She has got she has got good movement, and she likes to use kind of rhythm, speed, angles to kind of throw off her opponent. She will mix in kicks, but she's not. She doesn't really throw too much, and she likes to throw more of low kicks. But she will mix them in, and she will like to throw a combo when she's exiting. So when she gets in, she might throw one or two, and then as she's leaving, she might throw another punch or two, just as they're coming in to kind of trying to keep them, have that defense up so they can't throw back. And that could help her. That could. Just maybe her being a little bit younger, having more volume, it might end up being what gives her the edge. Like I said, her big thing is sometimes when she goes to create space, she won't be that aware of where the cage is and could end up running into the cage if Rose can cut her off. And she likes to switch stances with her movement, so could be something where if Rose does throw a lot of leg kicks, she could be comfortable with fighting a different stance, but who knows? But my bias is speaking here. I'm gonna go with Rose. I've got to meet her, and I got to meet her when she was champion after she beat Zhang Weili for the title. So I'd like to see her get one more kind of run for the title, win it, and possibly walk away. But I think that experience she's got from all the championship fights, everything, she is going to be, to me, the better fighter here. But I think it's because it still could be a good fight. I think Silva could pull it out with that pressure, with that pace, with those kind of movements, could be what allows her to pull it out and win that fight. But I'm just gonna go with Rose Namajunas. And the last fight on the main card is Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. Now I think this is another one where you kind of have two different styles of striking. Arnold Allen is very well-rounded, very good fight IQ. He's very patient. He's very technical when he strikes. He doesn't like to overextend. He doesn't like to overextend himself. Doesn't like to get too wild and crazy. He likes to keep it kind of very disciplined with his strikes. He's got good grappling skills too. He's not a slouch grappling. And also he will mix in kicks at the end of his combos, or if he sees an opening for a kick, he might throw it, but he's going to make sure that it's going to be harder for him to get caught, or it's not going to put him in any compromising position. Because of that fight IQ, he can adjust in mid-fight. He can kind of adjust to what his opponents do, and if he sees an opening later, in the fight, he can kind of adjust to exploit that. And that could be very devastating, especially with this crisp boxing that he's got. The fact that he can, like I said, utilize the kicks when he feels necessary. Because Gene Silva is kind of wild. He's a more aggressive fighter, which could be a downfall against someone who's more disciplined, kind of calm, tactical. But also because he's more aggressive, it could throw Allen off. It could, maybe if he hits him with something, it could get Allen to start kind of overthinking a bit. And he's got decent grappling, and he can actually go take you down and look for some ground and transition to get a good spot for some ground and pound, or maybe find a submission. But that's not what is his kind of favorite way to fight is striking. And mixing in those kicks when he sees an opening for it, maybe even using some teeps, but really kind of looking to mix in those kicks with those punches, whether it be the end of a punch, in the middle, but also just use that aggression. And because that he's willing to take risks, which could hurt him, but also could help him. It's going to be something to see about whenever you see these very aggressive fighters go against someone who's more reserved, more technical. That could end up actually helping them because they're going to get more output in. They're going to have more chance to land something, and that can sometimes overwhelm the more technical fighter in a way that it maybe normally wouldn't. So I think that's going to be a good one. I think I'm going to go with Arnold Allen. I think right now he's just on a roll. He's kind of got himself in it, so I'm going to go with Arnold Allen. And I think, to be honest, it's going to be a good fight. I think this card was good before. He ended up losing the title fight with Harrison and Nunes. I think it was still a good card then, and I think it's still a good card now because of the fact that you have, two different striking kind of matches or two different striking styles going against each other in a Sean O'Malley, a Song Yudong, in a Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis, and even an Arnold Allen versus John Silva, where you kind of have them, having that striking style but indifferent. And then, for the main event, is Gaethje going to be able to keep it up on the feet? And I think if he can win. Or is Patty going to get the better of him on the feet? Or if Patty can't, is he going to take him down and win it that way? So I think this is going to be a very good card to watch, very fun one. You've got some fun fights on the prelim card, on the prelims too, so I don't think this is going to be, bad to watch from beginning to end, really. I'm just truly ready for this main event, kick off this new era, and with Ilia Topuria says he's trying to come back around April, June. Maybe they can, and maybe they save this unification bout between the winner of Gaethje or Pimblett until the White House card, especially if Gaethje wins. I could see maybe doing that. It's like, we want to put you on the White House card to have an American champion fight on there, even though he'd be interim and still be kind of American champion. But yeah, so that's kind of my picks for this upcoming fight on Saturday. Comment down below if you agree with me, disagree with me. If you think I've kind of got some matches wrong and where I might be wrong in them, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Work hard at life, train hard in the gym, and have fun, y'all. Peace.